everybody, it's Kelly and Frankie again, here to show you some awesome tips for 4-point position. These are specifically, our cues today are specifically towards individuals postpartum who have a diastasis recti, but pretty much all of us can benefit from this. So enjoy!
Okay, let's have Kelly come on to all fours. Sometimes we call it a quadruped, because that's how quadruped animals would stand. And so the first thing I want Kelly to do is work on getting her spine straight, or actually neutral. So there'll be a very subtle little curve here. Things that need to happen. We need to have the arms vertically underneath the shoulders. We need to have the thighs vertically underneath the hip joints. And Kelly's got that. And then let's activate some muscles. Let's pull the shoulders away from the ears so that some armpit muscles, the lats and the intercostals are working. Let's have her belly pulled up so that we don't get all saggy. And I'm going to pull her shirt tight so that you can see when she does not engage her abs, look what happens. Boom. We kind of look pregnant and we look like we got a major sway back. So let's keep the spine straight and let's pull the belly in, just like we would do if we were lying on our back. And we also need to pull the ribs down a little bit, Kelly. There we go. Now, at the bottom end here, the glutes need to be relaxed right now. The legs are really doing nothing. What's basically holding everything in place is underneath the belly and under the armpits. And then we need to just stay there and breathe. But here's the challenge. When we breathe, we must not let go of the muscles that we just engaged. So these armpit muscles need to stay, the belly muscles need to stay, right? If our diastasis is just spreading apart, everything's just gonna sink to the floor. Let's not do that. Let's keep our tummy pulled in and stay and breathe. And maybe you do this 10 breaths, more if you can. Don't strain the neck, keep the neck nice and long, okay? And then we're gonna have Kelly just move a little bit from this position, which I refer to as cow. If you ever look at cows in the field, they look kind of rectangular and square, very flat backs. Now Kelly's going to go into a cat, where the cat would round its back up, almost like when it's about to, pick a fight with somebody, and it makes this nice curve, okay? And then Kelly's going to go back to that flat cow position, and then she's going to go beyond that. Chest up, tailbone up. And here we call this the horse. Imagine that we're wearing a saddle on this nice curvature here in the back. But don't do too much with the neck, Kelly. Keep the shoulders out of the ears. And guess what? You've got to keep the belly in. That is the hard part. I'm going to pull it tight here. Okay, now go back to the flat, the cow. Keep the armpit muscles in the belly engaged as you go to the cat. You tuck the tail. You tuck the head. You pull the belly in a little bit more, but don't forget you're not going to let it go on the other positions. So go through the cow, the flat back, into the horse. What I encourage people here, because we tend to have that slumpy posture nowadays, so this upper part of the back, the thoracic spine, tends to not move. This is where we need to think about wearing a saddle. For us girls, it's right across the bra band. Try to bend that part. And it helps if you think about reaching your chest forward. But always go back to your abdomen. Don't let it go under here. So let's have Kelly go back to her flat cow shape. And we're going to just test to see how flat she really is. I have a trusty little foam roller here. And if we put this on, lower your chin just a tad, Kelly. If we put it on her head and her tailbone, what we should see is pretty much most of her body touching the roller. There may be a small space in the lumbar region and a small space in the cervical region. That's totally fine. But the challenge now is to maintain that. I take my fingers off. Look at that. Da-da. The Kelly's balancing. We're going to keep the belly pulled up. You can't see it because she's got a baggy shirt on, but there's that skinny belly. And just staying here, thinking about all the muscles under your armpits, down the sides of your body, into your abdomen. They're working to hold you here. And that would be the nice little pass the test there.
Thanks, Frankie. It was
okay.
awesome.
So I think Kelly's ready to move a little bit now, but she's going to use all those same muscles, okay? But we're not going to move the spine, right? We just learned how to put it in various positions. Now we're going to keep it there. So first of all, we're going to take one arm and reach it forward, Kelly. But you're going to keep your abs engaged. Notice that Kelly did not move anything here in her upper body. That's awesome. And bring that hand down underneath you, not letting anything move here, taking the other arm out. And when this is done well, as our lovely Kelly is demonstrating, the roller would stay in place. It would not fall, right? Bring that arm back under. A lot of people, when they do this, the roller just bounces right off. And that's because the spine has moved too much. So make sure that you're all about stabilization. Now Kelly's going to do this with the leg. So one leg at a time. Again, imagining that the roller's here. Don't let it move. Good. There you go. When the leg lifts, by the way, the glute has to work. And then we can bring the leg back. Don't move the spine. Hold the tummy in tight. The leg goes back. The glute works to hold it, but the spine doesn't move, right? We don't suddenly go into that horse position. We have to stay in the cow, the very flat, straight spine. So when the leg is lifting, this tends to happen. I was about to push Kelly down a little bit and say, you guys need to watch that that hip stays close to the ground. Okay, so the challenge becomes not just one limb, but now two limbs lifting. So it's going to be opposite arm, opposite leg. So get everything set up, armpit muscles, belly muscles. Remember, we're scooping that belly in. Now one leg goes back first. Use the glute to lift it just a little bit. It doesn't have to lift super high. Opposite arm. And again, imagine that foam roller here. Or visualize the cow with that nice flat, straight back. Good. And then we return the limbs. We readjust. If things moved, it's not necessarily a good thing, but you know, it's always good to reset every time you get the limbs underneath you again. So here goes the other leg. Use the glute to hold it, Kelly, keeping the belly pulled in, the arm goes forward, and again, nothing's moving in here. Everything's working under here. You breathe, you hold for maybe 5 seconds or so, and then bring the limbs back underneath you and reset and revisit the abs, because they do get lazy and they want to let go. And Kelly, do you have anything that you want to add to that?
No, that was perfect. I especially think your cues for those upper rib cages, that little upgain of these internal obliques is just key for all of us postpartum and post-back injury. There's so much information out there all about the TA, the transverse abdominis, negative pressure breathing, and that's so important, but we need to control that rib flare as well. And I have a very hard time in pointer with that specifically, which is why it's such a great exercise for me. So.
Well, you did great, Kelly.
Oh, thanks, Frankie.